the fact that we're all discussing these kinds of things much earlier in life than what was done, years ago. Does that mean that you are presenting multifocal contact lens options earlier, or do you still wait until a certain time to do that? And if so, why? Anybody want to talk about that?
I would say both. I mean, sometimes patients will not give you their actual true complaint unless you push and prod. They don't necessarily want to admit that they're aging. So by having the conversation, you get the "oh yeah" moment. Yeah, that's happening to me. Other parts of it are that we just simply have that patient who has the problem, has admitted it to you, but is afraid of what your answer is going to be as to how to solve it. They're sometimes a lot more easily moved into multifocal where there's no overt, you camouflage the fact that they're aging, which they prefer.
As soon as they can appreciate any ad whatsoever on near refraction, we talk about it. And I bring up the discussion of reading in dim light and fatigue after hours on the computer or with near task. And once you start talking about it, even your presbyopes who did not come in complaining, a lot of them will admit to those struggles. And when they try the multifocal, they appreciate the difference, even though they might not have come in complaining.
Yeah, John, we move patients into multifocal lenses a little bit earlier for two primary reasons. We certainly have a discussion, and if we can in some way convince or educate the patient appropriately, the first reason we tend to move them into multifocals earlier is because they're easy to fit. And rather than waiting until there's such a differential between their distance and their ad, when it's more of a struggle, we want to educate the patient that the earlier that we do this, the easier it will be to transition, much like we have a discussion with a progressive wearer. We don't. And then the second reason why we do that is because we want to be proactive with our treatments of medical and visual conditions for our patients.
When you bring up to the patient that it is going to get worse and that you may not be able to make it through the entire year without coming back to me because of that near vision strain, that changes their perspective too. And I tell them what the symptoms are going to be and what to watch out for, but knowing that they may not make it through, a lot of them say, you know what, I can already appreciate the difference, let's just do it.
Wrong, but I think in almost everything that we do, the proactive doctor is the one who kind of does a little bit of fortune telling to the patient. Mm-hmm. You know that at some point they're going to make the transition. Whether we do it early, whether we do it later, whether they complain about it or not. But I find that the doctor, at least in my practice or when I go see a doctor, the doctor who lets me know, hey, you're fine right now, but this is what we got to watch out for, is the doctor that I want to go back to anyway.
Yeah, and to your point of building a patient base, fortune telling, as Steve put it, is critical because that builds loyalty and that brings patients back. They understand that you have the solutions for them. You have what can solve their problem even before they experience that problem.
Does this, in your practices, include all presbyopes, or how do you single out who you're not going to want to demonstrate this to?
I have the discussion with every appropriate presbyopic patient that might be a candidate. I do that for two reasons. One, if I don't, I risk somebody else telling them, their friends at the restaurant. And then that patient might lose confidence in my skill, in my resources, in my ability to stay current with technology. And I might not get the chance to show them otherwise. And then secondly, I want them to be wowed. I want them to be excited. And I think you can achieve that by fitting them with the latest technology that fits their lifestyle. I don't think you can go wrong with it because Air Optics Aqua Multifocal, for example, very high percentage of success. And even if that patient is one of the few that it doesn't work for, they know that I took the time out of my day and made the efforts to try to tailor my care and fit them with a lens that was going to elevate their experience. And that perception makes a difference with the patient.